Donald Trump has a couple of different, sometimes mutually exclusive conspiracy theories that he believes will result in him still being president. But one that he has been very consistent with, that he's returned to from the immediate aftermath of the election up until just today, is that he wants signature match. He wants to go through all of the votes cast. Generally, he targets this on Georgia because there the vote was so close. Just something like 12,000 votes gave Biden the win. And make sure that all the signatures match very carefully. And he is sure that that is going to overturn the results. Way back in the middle of November, he was tweeting thousands of uncounted votes discovered in Georgia counties. When the much more important signature match takes place, the state will flip Republican and very quickly get it done. He's saying the get it done to Brian Kemp because at that point he considered Kemp some sort of ally of his. That's going to change, as you'll see. December 3rd, the beginning of this month, he says, and look how fast this changes. In this tweet, he says, the Republican, in air quotes, governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, a man he endorsed for the role. And the Secretary of State must immediately allow a signature verification match in the presidential election. If that happens, we quickly and easily win the state and, importantly, pave the way for a big David and Kelly win. And then just yesterday, he says, when are we going to allow signature verification in Fulton County? The process is going very slowly, Brian Kemp. Pennsylvania just found 205,000 votes more than they had voters, which is not true. Therefore, we win Pennsylvania, which I checked. He didn't win Pennsylvania. So, but anyway, that's a thing that he's wanted, JR. And so we don't have full signature match across all of Georgia, but we do have a big trial run that's already happened. So why don't we check in and see, how much it's overturned things? Like, should we be getting ready for the Trump inauguration? On Tuesday evening, this is just yesterday, Atlanta Journal-Constitution reporter Greg Bluestein reported that Cobb County, a suburban Collier County northwest of Atlanta, had finished an audit of 10% of the more than 150,000 absentee ballots cast in the 2020 general election. So, two important facts from that. One, this is 10% of all of what he thinks could overturn it, and it's in particular in Cobb County, which, based on how much voter suppression they did in Cobb County, they definitely think this is one of the areas where Democrats are going to steal the whole thing. Well, as a result of the nearly 2-week-long audit, Cobb County found only 2 votes out of more than 15,000 that should have been flagged for cure notification. One of the pair was mistakenly signed by a voter's spouse on the envelope, but the correct voter signed the ballot inside, and the other had not been signed on the envelope, but the actual ballot was likewise properly signed. So out of 15,000 ballots, they found 2 that any reasonable person would say, oh, yeah, no, that was a simple mistake. And the actual voter signed the ballot. And they're an actual voter, so it's totally cool. But even if we gave them those 2, that's 10% of the total result. In the end, if this pattern holds, it could maybe flip. If you're being a real, it could flip 20 votes across the state. I don't think that's going to do it.
I was just going to say, John, we got to make sure we get the rest of these, the other 90%. Again, you decided to just roll through that caveat that it was only 10% of the 150,000 absentee ballots. What's really going on with this pitching and this presentation, John? No, they know this. They know that's the way it was going to come out. It's a continuous. Honestly, we have all these theories as to why they continue to push these ridiculous points and conspiracy theories and vote counts and this happened and that happened when was it December 30th or 31st? Is it the last day yet? No, it's December 30th. We're still sitting here talking about signature verification in Georgia and we win and, we just won Pennsylvania. Is it for the money? Is it for the grifting, for the donations, for the campaign? Is it for the run in 24? Is it for Trump network? We don't know anymore. None of it makes any sense. It's just he has nothing else to do. He's like, well, just lost another round of golf. Guess I'll go on Twitter and go tell some lies.
Yep.
I'm trying to figure out the end game here. I really can't figure it out anymore.
I mean, the thing is, I think we have the same, we both want to find out because we care about knowing what's going on in the universe. At the end of the day, does it matter? I don't know. Maybe it matters. Maybe. But the frustrating thing is that the incentives are set up all wrong, whether it's to run later or for a media company or because he actually thinks he can overturn it or whatever. It doesn't matter to him in the end. It doesn't matter how wrong he is in the end. He'll still have the money. And we know what his base is like. They're not going to turn on him when it turns out that's like if signature verification overturns 20 votes in the end, they just won't talk about it anymore. Or if they do, they'll claim that that was rigged just like the election. Like they can make these very specific, repetitive claims. And if they're wrong, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're a politician making that claim. If it's, Mark Levin saying every day that signature verification is going to overturn this thing, his viewers at the end aren't going to be like, oh my God, I was really deceived for multiple months by this guy I trusted. I'm not going to watch him anymore. That's not going to happen. The incentives are set up all wrong where they don't have to be honest. It doesn't even matter what the purpose of their dishonesty is. And when it's proven that they're wrong, they'll just move on. The whole system from top to bottom is set up in a way to produce grift and to reward it.
Yeah. You have to, he built his group of supporters in a way that they really don't have to care about anything. Facts don't have to matter. It's just about opinions, whatever he tells them to do. Because you mentioned some of the people who maybe came forward that normally supported him and went with his lies for the last 4 years. The Laura Ingrams, Tucker Carlson's, all of them had their moments when they said, yeah, you know what? You got to say he lost. Oh, how could you, Tucker? Never will watch you again. Laura, I thought you. When Laura Ingrams said it, she had a preemptive attack on the attacks and said, now you guys know I've been a conservative for all this time. I've been fighting hard. This doesn't mean that I'm some kook. I'm just letting you know, because she knew what was coming, because that's the way they weaponized them for this many years. Yeah, she's been a conservative firebrand for years, because these people that are now going to come after her are the people that she sent into the battlefield to go after folks based off of nothing. Yeah. So when, now that Frankenstein has come back and is starting to beat them, they're like, oh, who knew this monster existed? I can't believe it. But again, I don't know if they didn't expect that, but Trump is just a whole different kind of Dr. Frankenstein that they didn't expect.
Yeah, and, some of them run afoul of this beast that they've unleashed. They train people to not trust anything that doesn't make them feel good. Like whether a fact is true or not is entirely based on how warm it makes you feel inside. Some of them will run afoul of that, and they'll be cast aside to be replaced by somebody who is more purely insane. That's the sort of the tale of the media. And some of them will really callously and cynically just pick up that base for their own purposes. Like we're seeing, I talked about it in the TDR pre-show, but you've got Josh Hawley, who says that he's going to participate in that, trying to overturn the results. His statement makes clear that he either doesn't believe any of what Trump is saying, or he at least wants plausible deniability that he doesn't believe it, but he is going to cynically kind of pretend to believe it so that Trump will say nice things about him and Trump's base will have good feelings about him going forward. So then in a couple of years, when he launches his run, they'll be like, yeah, he stood by us.
That's right.
So I know you didn't get a chance to comment on that. What do you think about this breaking news?
The Josh Hawley part of this?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, that's when I first saw his name. I was like, man, this is 100% some kind of a political ploy, because he's the one that's been, I guess, the allyship with Bernie Sanders in the 2000s. That's like one thing he threw out there. And we speculated like, oh, he's going with the populist thing. He's going to be running at some point. He wants to be on board with being with the American people. So now with Trump, he's got to play both sides of this, because he knows he can't just win with Republican support. He knows he's going to have to fool enough, I guess, Democrats or independent folks in the country to think, oh yeah, Josh Hawley, that young guy who has energy and actually did that one right thing. He wants one group to think he did the right thing for Trump, and the other group to think he did the right thing for the American people, because he was on both sides of two different issues. But that doesn't make much sense when you're supporting the president who exacerbated this whole thing for the entire year, told everyone not to wear masks, ignored it from the beginning, and you support that guy. So now you can't be on board saying, how could we hold back so long on these $2,000 checks? Where were you in June?
Yeah. Exactly.
But it doesn't matter. That's what you're saying. In years from now, we're not going to remember the timetable from when Josh Hawley spoke out. We're just remember those two moments and those two different issues. And I think they realize that's how we think.
Well, and we're also going to have to see, like, one thing, maybe he gets this, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. When trying to get Trump's support or Trump's base's support, is that to get Trump to like you, you have to give him your loyalty. You have to agree with whatever he says or whatever. But like what they don't seem to get is that with most humans, doing that builds up some sort of credit. With Trump, that doesn't exist. He has like it's a goldfish theory of loyalty. Like he only remembers the last 30 seconds. You can give him everything he wants. If someday he takes a step too far for you and you don't follow him, he will cast you aside and say that you're the biggest fake Republican ever. We saw that with Kemp. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. Now, Hawley is 100% fake and a slimy politician. So maybe there's no line that Trump can cross that he won't follow. But like you could put in all this work hoping that someday in 2 years, when you announce that you're going to run, you're going to be the guy out of the pack that Trump is going to support for president. And maybe that'll happen. Maybe flash forward to 2 years, he'll do that. But I don't think that Trump ever enjoys endorsing anyone if it's not for his own benefit.
Not at all.
For all we know, he's going to try to run, whether real or not. Maybe he'll fake run just to get some attention and torpedo Hawley because he doesn't care about him. Or he could just not endorse anyone because fundamentally he's a psychopath and he doesn't see any benefit in helping someone else out in a way that doesn't help him.
He openly said
this could be a lot of wasted effort from Hawley.
Yeah, he openly said it at an event when he was supposed to be speaking out for Loeffler and Perdue. He goes, I don't like doing this. Yeah. They asked me come and speak for someone. This is a lot of work. I don't like talking for anyone else. I don't like helping anyone. He said it all very openly right before they came up on stage. He goes, they asked me if I'd come, and I said, I mean, okay, but I don't really want to. Yeah. Like, this is the guy that other people in his party are supposed to believe he supports them enough to get them elected.
Yeah.
Have at it.
Yeah, trust that guy. Trust him.